Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Nerd.
I'm Nomad.
And this is the first official episode of NerdNomadic.
So we thought we'd get to know Thor a little bit better by interviewing him for the first official episode.
So this is about getting to know each other better before we get to interview other people.
Just to get you guys in on us before you understand the experiences of other people. Alright, so for the first question, where are you from? Let them know.
I'm from a small city called Grand Junction, Colorado. It's in the western part of Colorado, in the desert. How you should think of Colorado is in three parts. Going from west to east, you got the desert, the mountains, and then the plains. And I'm from the desert.
Better known as the Escalante.
Escalante.
Alright, so when you first got into ParkLife, you came to Crater Lake. Was it early May?
Yes.
Early May.
May 15th, if I am correct.
So coming from Colorado to Oregon, what was your first impression?
They still had a lot of snow. It was very cold. We had about snow walls that are about 6 feet tall, I would say, and still thawing out, still just getting ready for the summer. And it was definitely a quick change from the desert that was already hitting 90s, sometimes 100s before I got there.
What a shit.
Yeah.
So, go and tell us about the first time you saw the rim, when you first got up to the top of the mountain village.
Oh man, it was the best experience, one of the best experiences of my life, I should say. When you walk up, you don't see anything until you hit this stone wall, and it's kind of like a slow trance, almost, where you're just walking up, and then you finally see the deep blue color of Crater Lake, and but then when you finally get to absorb everything, when you're finally there at the wall and get to see all of your surroundings, you get to see how blue the water is, Wizard Island just popping up out of nowhere.
Especially when it was covered in snow.
Yeah, when it was full of snow, all the dynamic colors, because there was still green from the pines. There was that deep white still on the slopes. You almost looked like it almost looked like you could sled down the hill and skip across the islands all the way to Wizard Island.
Except there were sharp rocks.
Except for there's sharp rocks in the water.
So, besides that, you could have done it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I kind of wanted to. There was always a deep yearning for me to do that. For sure.
Alright, so go ahead and tell us 2 memorable experiences that you had while you were in ParkLife. It could be here, the job you had before here, or at Crater Lake. Just something that stands out.
The first experience, I would say, and which is most important when starting ParkLife, is how scary it is at first. You show up, you have your bags on your shoulders, and they give you your dorm. You go through the paperwork, you go through the testing, and you make it through, and they're like, all right, here's your room. Time to set it up. And you just take this inventory into yourself, and you think to yourself, well, this is where I'm gonna be. This is where I'm gonna be for 5 months of my life, and all I have is what is on my shoulders, and what I can buy in that short amount of time. And at first, it's a really scary thought, but it's also a really self-justification, because you're proclaiming that you can do this. You are by yourself. No one's gonna help you. No one's your safety net, and you are there for you to make money and to progress from that season.
Yeah, especially from a lot of people who this is their first job. It puts a lot of responsibility on their shoulders and gives them a taste of real life, because we have incredibly cheap housing, so it's not quite like renting your own place, but it's a good step in the right direction for anyone who just turned 18 and is right out of high school, or just decided they want a different career and they wanted to be able to grow a little bit more.
And that was a big thing. Like, in my head, I thought that I could play a little bit more fast and loose than what I really should with my money. And ultimately, for my first season in Crater Lake, I ended up spending a lot more than what I wanted to.
Same. Everyone at ParkLife always spends their first season just flat out, and every single first paycheck from every new job that you get, everyone always spends their first, because they're always living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody saves. So that's our first bit of advice. Save, save, save. It doesn't matter if it's $100. It doesn't matter if it's $10. But
we're talking about we're like, fuck it, let's buy a blender, or like, damn, might as well just get a new TV, and shit like that. And at first you're like, well, we're gonna go for the cheaper option. I'm only gonna get the 32-inch, or like the cheapest of the blenders. But,
or just don't get a blender and do that shit by hand.
Yeah, but like, ultimately you want to be lazy, and so in the ParkLife, you're just like spend, and like you try to manage it and like try to like go for the cheapest route for every decision that you make, but like you end up just nickel and diming yourself into nothing, and then you're like, well, I'm broke. Gotta wait for next paycheck.
Yeah, and then that cycle continues and continues. And then you're perpetually broke. So, yeah, first bit of advice, save as much as you can.
For sure.
So, second story, something memorable that sticks out in your mind.
So, another thing that was very memorable to me was how I made friends. So, there was this girl, she decided one day to string up a hammock behind our dorms. Like, we had woods behind our dorms, and she threw up her hammock, and people kept asking, like, hey, can we take a nap in there, can we lay in there, all that. And finally it just snowballed into we ended up going deeper into the woods, and we ended up making more of like a society of hammocks.
Hammock City.
We called it Hammock City. The best part was definitely how we directed them to it, which wasn't really directing them to it. Whenever you ask someone that had a hammock at Hammock City, and you try to ask them directions to Hammock City, all that they can give you it was over yonder. There was no hand gestures, there was no pointing. It was just over yonder, and that was it.
Yeah, we were in the middle of woods, so over yonder could mean a million different things. It could literally mean the backside of that mountain, because we were up against the bottom of the foothill behind our dorms, which is actually where it was.
And I gotta tell you, Hammock City was the life. Like, I ended up buying 2 of these metal citronella candles. Like, they were kind of like buckets. Huh?
Which you got yelled at for.
Which I got yelled at for, that's for sure. Where we lit them, and it brought such a vibe to it. Like, we would drink beer and just chill and relax. Yeah, no, I was drinking definitely legal beverages. Definitely legal beverages.
Yep.
Definitely legal beverages.
Apple cider.
But like it brought like a vibe to it. Like it brought like a warmth, and everyone just loved hanging out and just chilling. Like we'd play like a subtle music in the background, and we just talk and chill, and it was great. And we would be there all the time.
And several times you passed out.
And several times we'd pass out, and we'd wake up shivering in the morning.
Alright, and then, so one big thing that you have learned from working in seasonal parks that affects the greater picture in your life? Life lesson.
I gotta say, the one life lesson is everything is politics. Every person you come across is trying to get an edge to get on top in some way, shape, or form. Everyone wants dirt on everyone. So basically, the best advice that I could give you is just shut up and do your job. And if they're friends and you trust them, then you trust them. But the best thing you can do is just shut up and do your job, because ultimately you're going to say something at some point and you're going to have 3 people coming up at you royally pissed off that you said something that you just offhandedly thought of.
Yeah, just a backhanded comment.
And it's all politics. They're all trying to get on top of you and on top of everybody else. They want to be top dog of the park, you know?
I do. I've noticed that while I've been in this kind of lifestyle, that everyone is always trying to step on your head while you're drowning, so to speak. And I mean, that it's like that everywhere, but definitely noticeably here with a lot of different cultures coming in. A lot of them don't have filters, and they just bluntly tell you that they're trying to step on you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's nice that they tell you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, the best you can do is just shut up and do your job. That's the best way to keep all the friends that you have and not step on anybody's toes, because ultimately all you want to do is go to work, make your money, hang out, go to bed.
Yep. And then do it all again.
And do it all again the next day. Because once you start playing the politics game, then you have to juggle all this information, and no one, I'm saying no one can fucking do that. You have to either shut it down or you try the juggle and lose. No matter what. You might go far. You might get a long time on that juggle. But in the end, you'll always lose.
Yeah. Well, that's sound advice. But that's the end of episode 1. So we're going to cut it short. Next episode, we will definitely have a different guest, now that you've heard a little bit from me and a little bit from him. It will most likely be one of our immediate co-workers, and then after we get a couple of them done, we will be branching out to other departments and definitely people from other countries, so we can hear their stories of coming to America and their first experiences. And I think that's it.
And once we hit our third video, we're on the map.
Yeah, officially searchable by YouTube. So,
woo!
At least one more episode out, and we will probably be able to be searched in the bar.
Be sure to watch our last video as well. I gave a good basic read on both of us, for sure.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you can get up-to-date notifications.
Give us all the critiques. We need to learn.
Yeah. Sorry about if the editing is a little jumpy. We're totally beginning at this. We just did this on a whim, and we think we are going to try to succeed a little bit.
For sure. We're definitely going to take a couple of snapshots of how our setup is, just to show you how
it's great.
How ghetto it is.
It's so great.
How ghetto it is.
Alright, so that's the episode.
Da 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 da.
I hope that's not copyrighted.